I call the November 15th, 2016 Riverton City Council Finance Committee meeting to order at 6:45 p.m. The chair would entertain a motion for the consideration of claims.
Motion to pay bills of $619,930.29. Checks written for payroll, liabilities for 10/28/16 in the amount of $432,297.73, and manual checks in the amount of $40,646.84. Madam Chairman, the total is $1,097,874.86.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Do we have any discussions about them?
No, ma'am.
I don't.
Okay. The only one that I have a question on is as far as the Wyoming State Lands and Investments. We just got done talking about it just a little bit, but what exactly is that loan for? It's on page 13 of 16. And then can you tell us how much we still owe on it and like how long of a loan it is?
There are actually two loans.
So it looks like, doesn't give us much detail here. Okay, so the first one is for the $64,147.13. And the principal balance as of 8/30/16 is $793,416. We don't, you know which one this is for? Doesn't give,
That is for one of the water projects.
okay. And then the second one is for $24,227.69, and the principal balance as of 10/25/16 is $349,648.35.
That was for the high service pumps.
And that's the high service pumps.
Both of those are water projects.
So then, are we going to be taking out another loan then when we do the North Federal project as well?
Madam Chairwoman?
Yep.
Yes, we've already taken out that loan. That's a state revolving loan through the Clean Water Act. And we did that several months ago. We're working through the two-part approval process with the state of Wyoming. We were given approval on the first phase. The second phase is more an administrative phase, and Ms. Donna Wilhelm and Gloria have been working on that.
Okay. All right, that's all I had. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Meeting adjourned.
I now call the November 15th, 2016 regular meeting of the Riverton City Council to order at 7 p.m. Would Councilmember Martinez lead us in the pledge? And after that, we'll have a prayer from Kyle Larson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our eternal Heavenly Father, we are thankful for this opportunity to work as a city council to serve our fellow citizens. Father, we are thankful for the many blessings that we have. Thankful for the freedom which Thou hast granted unto us. Bless us this night, Father, that we might do Thy will and be able to do the business for this community and benefit it. Humbly we ask this. In the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Would the city secretary please conduct a roll call?
Yes, Your Honor. Councilmember Mike Bailey.
Here.
Councilmember Martin Canan.
Here.
Councilmember Lee Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Kyle Larson.
Here.
Councilmember Sean Peterson.
Here.
Councilmember Holly Gibbon.
Here.
Mayor John Lars Baker.
I am present and declare that we have a quorum. I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Your Honor, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as written.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mayor votes aye and the motion passes. Communications from the floor, citizens' comments. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council regarding an item that is already on the agenda will be given an opportunity to speak later on. I would ask those individuals who wish to address the council at this time to approach the podium and identify yourselves for the record. Would the finance director please read the consent agenda items by title only?
Yes, Your Honor. Approval of the minutes, November 1st, 2016, regular council meeting. Approval of the minutes, November 15th, 2016, Finance Committee meeting. Approval of the Finance Committee recommendations, November 15th, 2016. Approval of the municipal court report for the month of October 2016. Approval of ordinance number 16-005, second reading, rezone tract A and B, Cambridge Village subdivision, petitioner Seth Johnson. Proposed ordinance number 16-005, an ordinance amending the zoning district map of the city of Riverton, Wyoming, designating the rezone of tract A and B, Cambridge Village subdivision to the city of Riverton, Fremont County, Wyoming, from residential PUD, planned unit development, to R-A residential.
Are there any items that require further discussion?
Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Recommendations from the Finance Committee for claims to be paid in the amount of $619,930.29. Checks written for payroll liability for 10/28 of 16 in the amount of $437,297.73. Manual checks in the amount of $40,646.84 for a total of $1,097,874.86.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Been moved?
Second. And Your Honor, I would abstain from the Bailey Enterprises and Wex items on the Finance Committee report.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mayor votes aye, and the motion passes. I've got a couple proclamations to read here this evening. The first one is whereas the government of Riverton, Wyoming celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions that they make to our local economy and community. According to the United States Small Business Administration, there are 28.8 million small businesses in the United States, and they represent 99.7% of all businesses with employees in the United States, and are responsible for 63% of net new job created over the last 20 years. And whereas small businesses employ over 49% of all businesses with employees in the United States, and whereas 89% of consumers in the United States agree that small businesses contribute positively to the local community by supplying jobs and generating tax revenue, and whereas 87% of consumers in the United States agree that small businesses are critical to the overall economic health of the United States, and 93% of consumers in the United States agree that it is important for people to support the small businesses that they value in their community, whereas Riverton, Wyoming supports our local small businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our neighborhoods. And whereas advocacy groups, as well as public and private organizations across the country, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now, therefore, I, John L. Baker, Mayor of Riverton, do hereby proclaim November 26th, 2016 as Small Business Saturday, and urge the residents of our community and communities across the country to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. Okay, so I got through that all right. Do you remember a year ago when I tried to do one of these and wound up with a coughing fit? Finally had to let, I think Lee finished it for me. Whereas, so this is the second one, we'll see if I can get through that. Whereas the city of Riverton and the state of Wyoming has a significant interest in the continued vitality of general aviation, aircraft manufacturing, aviation educational institutions, aviation organizations, and community airports. And whereas general aviation and the Riverton Regional Airport have an immense economic impact on Riverton, and whereas, according to the Wyoming Aviation Economic Impact Study, general aviation airports in the state contribute $73 million in economic impact annually, and whereas, according to the Wyoming Aviation Economic Impact Study, general aviation airports in Wyoming support 410 jobs and a total payroll of $14.4 million. Whereas, according to the FAA, Wyoming is home to 8 repair stations, 2 FAA-approved pilot schools, 364 student pilots, 283 flight instructors. In addition, there are 34 fixed base operators in Wyoming, according to the UCU WIC directory. According to Helicopter Association International, there's 113 heliports in Wyoming. Whereas general aviation not only supports Wyoming's economy, it improves overall quality of life by supporting emergency medical and healthcare services, law enforcement, firefighting, and disaster relief, and by transporting business travelers to their destinations quickly and safely. And whereas the nation's aviation infrastructure represents an important public benefit, congressional oversight should be in place to ensure stable funding of this system. Now, therefore, I, John L. Baker, Mayor of the City of Riverton, do hereby proclaim general aviation a vital strategic resource to the City of Riverton and declare November as General Aviation Appreciation Month. And I drove by up there today, and there were 3 pretty good-sized private aircraft sitting on the apron. One belonging to the state of Wyoming. And so I assume that was here to bring the staff folks up from Cheyenne for the Select Committee on Tribal Relations meeting that took place in Lander. Okay, so the next item on here is a memorandum of understanding between the Wyoming Department of Transportation and the City of Riverton for North Federal Boulevard project. We need the Public Works Director's report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Coming before you is a memorandum between the state of Wyoming, WYDOT, and the city of Riverton. And basically this memorandum gives WYDOT the authority to access our rights of way during the construction of North Federal Boulevard. WYDOT has been working with all property owners that adjoin the highway right-of-way, and as a city, we naturally have several properties that adjoin that. So this MOU basically states we will allow WYDOT and its contractor to work within our right-of-way as part of that project. It is staff recommendation that we enter into this agreement as the city council.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I would move that we accept the memorandum of understanding with Wyoming Department of Transportation.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is that ordinance? I think that's a little typo on my script here, but we're doing fine. Okay, and so Mr. Bailey did the motion, and who seconded it?
I did, Your Honor.
Lee? Thank you. Okay, is there any discussion on this? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mayor votes aye, and the motion passes. The next thing on our agenda this evening is the Eclipse presentation. Paula McCormick is here with Wind River Visitors Council. Welcome, Paula. Get up to the podium and tell us all about the eclipse. And you came in here too early. The moon is up, okay, and it's the super moon. You know, it's about that big around instead of, and so it was pretty impressive as I came in. So we've got, that's maybe a precursor to the eclipse. That moon is going to get in the way of the sun this summer.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, thank you very much. Stephen, thank you for inviting me. Thank you, Councilman, Mayor, for inviting me. So I've been giving presentations around the county, different communities, have been attending a bunch of meetings, interagency meetings and things. We're trying to make sure people have the information they need so that they have the power to create community events and generate, I think, a fair amount of tax revenue from this. So I will just start with my presentation. So it is coming, and it doesn't matter if we are ready or not because people will show up. We know that. And you have 279 days to prepare. There you go. And it's a countdown, and we have a countdown clock on our website, and it is a countdown. So we wanted to build our brand for Wind River Country, and this has a short-term economic impact, this special event, as well as, I think, a very, very long-term economic impact for tourism, especially if people begin to identify a Wind River eclipse with Wind River Country, and we can get them back to come again and again. So this is a very big marketing deal for tourism that I think could have effect for a long time. So we did brand our eclipse the Wind River Eclipse. In America, it's called the Great American Eclipse because it goes from West Coast to East Coast across the entire country. But we have the Wind River Eclipse here. That makes us a destination, and I believe that really makes us a return destination for several years. I'm not going to go into what the actual eclipse is. If there are multiple websites that explain the science of it really well. But basically, the moon gets in the way of the sun and will create a shadow, and we are in the right place. So the first thing the Wind River Visitors Council did is we got some custom research from an eclipse expert, and he developed some marketing analysis for us. I have a hard copy here, and all of this information is on a Google Docs file that I can give you a link to, and you can all access all this information, including the PowerPoint and everything on Google Docs. But the reason that we are going to be very popular is we have some of the best weather history in the entire country to view this. NASA named Casper one of the best viewing sites in the entire country. Well, if you look at their historical weather data on August 21st, they have like an 18% chance of some type of cloud cover. Riverton's historical weather data on August 21st has only an 8% chance of any kind of cloud cover, which is one of the lowest in the entire country. We also have the high altitude, so they'll have less distortion. We have open space. People want open space to view it. They don't want a lot of buildings around. They want to view an open space. And because it parallels Highway 26-287, there's a lot of mobility on the highway, that if people are in Jackson and there's clouds in Jackson, they're going to get on the highway and start driving. They are going to be checking hour by hour, minute by minute, the weather projections for all the way across Wyoming. And they're only going to have so many hours to move until it is 11:40 or 11:36 during the day when the totality happens. So they want to know where they're going to be for that time. So we have been found by many eclipse experts to say you are a very good location and we're coming here. So we've already been identified because of what we have. So this research that we have, we have a very short version of it for you. We gave you a little short version. This is this pamphlet, and the full version is multiple pages, many pages. But this is a little short version to give you an idea. So in this information, our estimate is 10,000 to 20,000 extra people in Fremont County. Now, we have a big county and we get to spread them out, but that's a lot of extra people. That's significant. I think like for Lander, I think of 4th of July times 5, or something in what we're going to have to deal with. So the market research shows that there are basically four types of visitors that you have to kind of understand. The eclipse chasers, These are people who travel all around the world to see eclipses, wherever they are. The Faroe Islands in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean had 11,000 people show up. They only had 630 hotel rooms. Okay, so people were on cruise ships, people were on all kinds of boats. I mean, and that was a hard place to get to. We're a very easy place, actually, to get to with the highways and the fact that anybody north of the the line will be traveling south, and anybody south of the total line will be traveling north. So there are a lot of eclipse chasers, and we've been taking Japanese tour operators around to see locations. They want to know. They have people who are paying thousands of dollars to come here to see the eclipse. They've seen 15, 16, 17, 18 eclipses in their lifetime. This is what they do. And so we've already been talking with these tour operators who they have already booked. Then you have the rich, the famous, and the media. I don't know if we'll get Al Roker here or, I mean, we don't know. The media folks don't really decide till much closer to the time. But there potentially are rich and famous people. They may already be gone to Jackson, I don't know. We're working with Wyoming Office of Tourism. We've identified probably 30 different media people that we want to proactively talk to see if we can get them to come here to cover the media event, whether it's Outside Magazine or an astronomy magazine or things. So we're actually trying to target writers so that they don't contact us 2 weeks beforehand and say, we're coming. And that makes it hard for us. You have the curious explorers, and that's the people that I think we can make the most money off of, because they're the folks who will come here for 3 to 5 days. Because this happens on a Monday at noon, I believe a lot of people will come on Friday. They'll travel on Saturday, Sunday. They'll know exactly where they want to be come Monday. And if we have a lot of things over the weekend to hold them here, to track them here and hold them here, they are going to stay multiple days and spend a lot more money, and actually cause a lot less trouble with the traffic, because they won't just be en masse coming within a certain short time frame. So they're the folks that we're really trying to attract. And then the day trippers are the ones that are going to cause us a lot of trouble. They're going to get in their cars at 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning and start driving and potentially clog the highways. So our 10,000 plus visitors, this is in your, I guess this is probably not in this piece, but it's in the full market research. So this gives you an idea. If you just take the source of day trippers, Billings, we're a really good location for Billings. There's 180,000 residents up north to do that. You got 10,000 visitors maybe trying to come through, potentially come through Wind River Canyon. You've got 60,000 residents you'd be selecting from south, and there's so a certain percentage of those people would actually get in a car and go for day trippers. And in the research, it'll tell you about how many cars we think, based on those people, and 3 people per vehicle, will actually come what routes. So that's all in the research, and that's really important to YDOT and a bunch of folks. So we have done that kind of research providing them. So this path of totality, what's within the blue line is you will see the total eclipse, which means that, there'll be the full shadow over the sun, and you'll have that beautiful corona around it. But depending how close you get to the middle line, the red line there, depends on how long it lasts. That's the difference. And a lot of people want to be on the center line, and we will have somewhere around 2.5 minutes, a little less than 2.5 minutes of totality. If you're near that red line. If you're closer to the blue edges, like for example, Lander is near the bottom of the blue edge there, they're 1 minute and 7 seconds. Riverton is in really good shape for that. So I went on, on your handout, I gave you a handout that lists a bunch of websites and contact information and everything. And there is a website that actually is a Google map, and that's where I just took a screenshot from. Now here, the blue line is the center line. It's not this goes 25 miles on either side that you can see totality. But again, if people are traveling and spending thousands of dollars, a couple extra seconds means something to them, and they want to be closer to totality. That's Ocean Lake. Riverton is down at the bottom in the center. And that's that meridian line. And it follows, like, what is it, Highway 134, Pavilion, all that whole area, and then Highway 26 and 287. So it parallels all of that. So here's the schedule. If you look here, when it says, for example, first contact in Fremont County means the very first bit of the shadow starts to show over the sun. And that will start somewhere between 10:18 and 10:21 in Fremont County. Then the totality starts anywhere from 11:36 to 11:40. Within those 4 minutes in the whole county, that's when it's totally covered over, and that's what everybody's waiting for. But they will, there's a whole hour or more where you're watching the shadow till it comes in full totality. And then you'll see the duration right there is how many minutes, how many seconds it's in totality. Riverton is looking really good here. With the airport, you've got 2 minutes and 16 seconds. And then the very last shadow goes off at 1:05. So it's a couple-hour event, actually. And you've got 2 minutes and 16 seconds. That's a really good thing. So it's been 99 years since an eclipse went all across America. You didn't have TV, and you didn't have social media, and you didn't have all those communication things that we do now, which is why we believe there'll be so much hype, and the masses of people will know about this. So lots of media. They've already been covering it for 2 years, and it's just starting. To me, a lot of the Wyoming media, of course, have been picking it up. Wyoming Office of Tourism finally has their web page up on the eclipse, and we have a hot link right to the Wind River Country's eclipse page. Casper's doing a real good job. They've got eclipsecasper.com, and they're holding the AstroCon conference. 600 people, astronomy people are there the week before for a big astronomy conference, and they're all there so that they can stay over the weekend, figure out where they want to be, and see this eclipse on Monday. They've already booked the whole parkway. So what does Riverton do? Okay, well, I mean, I think to maximize the economic impact, you've got to turn this 2.5 minutes into 2 to 5 day events. Okay, a lot of the hotels have already done that for you. The hotels have said it's a 3-night minimum stay at our hotel. It's no refund, no cancellation. So they've already said, they've controlled it already in that way, is that don't just come and spend one night with us. You're going to pay all 3 nights. And so you might as well come and stay with us. So most hotels have already done something like that. We can be the destination for this, and we already are. Your hotels are already full. We need to figure out how to sell things here. Our businesses need to sell things. We can increase that whole return visitor afterwards, so that's the immediate and the short-term and the long-term effect for us. Now, the visitor themselves, they really want to experience this totality, and they want a great viewing site, which means they need someplace without clouds. And then they need safety. Not only the location of where they're at, where they're not going to get lost, they're not going to need search and rescue, they're not going to get stuck, in washed out 2 tracks. I mean, there's a lot of issues. And they absolutely have to have protective eyewear. The Wind River Visitors Council so far has bought 10,000 of these solar eclipse glasses, and you have to wear them or some type of very dark welding glass up to the point when it's totality. And once the sun is totally covered, then you can take them off for 2.5 minutes, and then you got to put them back on. Because people will burn their eyeballs out. We will have, it is a true problem, and we've got to do a lot of education with these protective eyewear. They will want connectivity. They're going to want to post all kinds of pictures and stuff. The Skip Horniker and his crew and Carl Freeman and those guys have already said there will be no cell service during this time. The system won't be able to handle cell phones. They're working up alternative emergency management communication systems. We will not be able to handle the capacity here. Oops, let me go back to that. Okay, so they want connectivity. They probably won't have it during certain times. They want unique landscapes. We certainly have that. They want a memorable cultural experience, which I believe we can deliver tenfold here. and they want to bring home a souvenir. Now, that's what they want. Now, what they need is they've got to have safety, they've got to have food and water, they've got to have fuel, they've got to have bathrooms, they're going to have directions, they're going to have a viewing site someplace where they're going to hike to, park their car, something, and most will want overnight lodging, camping, or at least day parking. So the Wind River Visitors Council promotes the eclipse through all kinds of, what we always do with tourism, marketing and public relations and our social media and our digital media, and work with tour operators, and we have our website. We've had our website up for almost a year, windrivereclipse.org. Please go to it, take a look, see what we have. We have our Facebook page. We're doing social media on that. We're doing 2 different Eclipse newsletters. You can go into our website and sign up for our newsletters. We're doing one to the industry here, to our stakeholders, people that are doing the logistics, and all of you should be, make sure you're on our industry e-newsletter. And then we have one to the consumer. When they come into our website and ask for more information, or the tour operators and stuff, we have an e-newsletter that goes out to our consumers to talk about different things each week. Now, if you go on our website, we have been working with businesses to try to have them create some type of packages or deals or events. So go take a look. The Wind River Hotel and Casino was one of the first ones on. They have done a fantastic job. The Shoshone Rose Casino now with their hotel, they're doing a lot of good packages. You can go on, it'll link to their page. All kinds of special events and tours are happening throughout our communities. Fremont County Museums jumped on it. All 3 of the museums, Friday and Saturday, will be doing treks, special treks. They've got a eclipse expert speaking at the Riverton Museum. Lander has decided it's going to have a downtown eclipse party, and they're going to combine that with their Lander Live concert that night. So they're trying to hold people there for their 1 minute and 7 seconds. Okay. Shoshone's jumped on it. They're going to make special eclipse viewers out of cardboard and kids and projects, and do all kinds of educational programs. Now, I haven't been able to confirm all this with Barney Costner. He's out of town right now. I know he and his board have been working on this for months, but I don't exactly know what it is. The last I talked to him, we were talking dry lot camping at the fairgrounds, day parking potentially in some areas. They talked about potentially doing a Saturday youth rodeo event for people that were there. That could be a really good thing. I haven't heard enough of how far the board has gotten on that. It's the perfect, safe place in my mind to send people. It's 2 weeks after the county fair. There's public restrooms. There's, they're used to dry camping with all of the horse trailers and, vendors and all that. So it would be a really great place. The other group that really jumped on this was the 1838 Rendezvous Association. So they have said this is a huge fundraiser for them. They have designated at the rendezvous site 500 sites. They've already hooked up with Eventbrite, which is an online registration company. They can go in and they can book their campground site. They're going to feed them. I've heard they've already rented their porta potties. They've already, jumped on it and got their porta potties. They're having entertainment every night. Really impressed that they have just jumped on this. This is how we increase capacity in Riverton if you're already all full with every existing campground and hotel. The Wyoming State Parks have done a really good job, particularly Boyson. Sinks Canyon and South Pass in Fremont County are not in totality, but they'll get a lot of weekend traffic. And then Boyson is on the Meridian Line. It is a prime viewing spot. They're talking star parties, hikes, tours. Who's there? Oh, Sierra Trading Post is their sponsor for the state park system. And there's 4 state parks across the state that this actually runs right through. So Sierra Trading Post is, I think, buying, the glasses for them and a bunch of stuff for folks. So Boyson being right the center line, on October 1st, they released on their website online individual campsite reservations. They've increased capacity by saying They aren't going to do the first come, first serve. They want to try to do everything by reservation, not first come, first serve, so they can control how many people are coming in, where they're going to be. And then the group sites are going to be available online on January 2nd. And that's one of the things that we're working with for some of our tour operators, Japanese tour operators, bus tours, media people. That's one of the places we want to make sure is we can get a group site. There's bathrooms there, nobody's going to get in trouble, and they get a great view over Boyson. Now your airport needs to be prepared. Between regular air service, your charter planes, you were just talking about general aviation. You just read a thing on general aviation. Well, there's going to be, I think, a lot of plane traffic. Right now, Jackson is trying to find additional things to tie down planes because they're going to have a lot of planes come into Jackson Airport and they don't have enough things, whatever the things are that you tie the plane down with, okay?
I down.
There you go. Thank you. There we go. You know, I mean, and Du Bois is going to have the same trouble. People are going to fly into Du Bois in these private planes, and they don't have enough physical space or tie downs. So you're going to have those issues with your general aviation. There's a real opportunity. I know EMS is concerned that if the general aviation takes all the fuel, what about the EMS helicopters? What about Guardian? What about, things? I mean, they need a lot of fuel. So we have to make sure all that stuff. And then there's going to be bus tours, there's guide service, there's shuttle service back and forth to places. So, and then we will get traffic from Casper's AstroCon. I really believe after their last program on Saturday, I think a lot of people are going to get in the car and drive over here. They've already been in Casper for a couple days for this. They've already checked out Casper Mountain and all that. I think they're going to drive over here, see where they want to be on Monday. Okay, so one of the opportunities is products with your own brand. We're working on this eye safety stuff. We've ordered 10,000 that we're going to use to give to mostly to organizations like the 1838 Rendezvous who are creating the infrastructure, the things to do, the museums. If they're going to have treks, we should be able to give them glasses for their folks because they're creating the infrastructure for us. But we want the hotels and everybody else to be able to offer them. So they only cost us, because we ordered 10,000, they only cost us 33 cents each. And we can order another batch. And so we're getting orders right now from hotels that tell us, we want 100, we want 200, we want 300. We can give you a great deal because it'll only cost you 33 cents. And we'll group them all together and we'll send them to you. So we're working on things like that. But it's not just these kinds of glasses. You can have special solar, what are these, sinoculars, okay, yeah. Special binoculars to view. And, you pay, I don't know, $100 for solar eclipse binoculars, and there's all this stuff. So that line of product right there that businesses could be selling, that's what the Wind River Casino is going to sell in their gift shop. That's a picture of some of their products that they're working with. So there's a whole opportunity for businesses to be selling these kinds of products, as well as selling the glasses. The Arapaho Tribe and the Wind River Casino have jumped on this. This is through their Black Mountain Embroidery. They've come up with their own logo. They're doing shirts. They're doing hats. They're doing all kinds of things. So they've already come up with their look. The Wind River Casino itself has its own Eclipse website now, eclipsecelebration.com. And they've come up with a special Arapaho ceremony to bring back the sun, which is really interesting because the last eclipse that came through this area, was it the last one? Anyway, it came through in 1872, which was the year that the Arapaho tribe was left on the Wind River Reservation. And they experienced, their first year here, they experienced a total solar eclipse. So they are working actually on a ceremony to bring back the sun. This is something that's on our website. Businesses like Gannett Peak Sports and Lander, they're going to do bike rentals and cool shades. Okay, well, they're already in that business, but they're already on our website. They're saying we're going to make sure we rent bicycles. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big thing. They're just making sure they're getting out there. This is what they already do. Middle Fork Restaurant, they're already having Earth's best brunch spot. I mean, they're already advertising this on our website. It costs nothing. Just give us the information. The Lander Art Center said, we're going to do an eclipse art exhibit. If you're an artist or a craftsperson, or you know artists and craftspeople, we just went online and started looking at eclipse art. People want souvenirs. They want lovely souvenirs. These are just samples of artwork that's available. Of things that what people are selling. And I think that there's a particularly big interest in Native American Western art that has an eclipse motif. So on our website, we mentioned some of the prime viewing locations right near the center line. Trail Lakes and Du Bois, Whiskey Mountain, that's a big one. Boysen Reservoir, the Wind River Indian Reservation, all the way across the reservation. Ocean Lake, Pavilion, Crowheart, the petroglyphs around Du Bois and Riverton, Castle Gardens, the Wind River Canyon. All of these are really prime viewing locations, and I think like up by your airport, up by your weather station, really good. I think that'd be a really good viewing location. So we're trying to talk to photographers. Where do photographers want to be for this? They have an opportunity, in my mind, to teach a lot of professional photography classes. How do you photograph a total solar eclipse? It's going to take, if you aren't a professional photographer, don't take a picture. Just watch the eclipse. It's gone in 2.5 minutes. That's what they all advise us. Don't take a picture. But somebody's going to make a lot of money taking beautiful photos and selling them. Our website, where to stay. If you list general lodging, all the lodging that already exists, it'll link you right to windriver.org, and it'll send you to all the hotels. And some of the hotels still have rooms. They are potentially saving some for regular clients or things like that, but there are some rooms available if you really talk individually to the property owners. But if you know of anybody that has availability, we do want to know. This is what the Hampton Inn's doing. I think they were really smart. Their eclipse rates, they have a really good rate. They increased their rate significantly, but they are offering 4 days of food, catered food, entertainment. They're going to keep them at the hotel. People don't have to get up and drive all over the place to find food or find things. They are entertaining them right there. So that's their schedule at the bottom of the slide, is parties and music and bouncy houses and things. They've done a really good job, and they're packaging the whole thing and charging a decent price for the night. Our Dude Ranches, Outfitters, guided tours, I've heard for, some of those trips have been booked for a year into the Wind Rivers and into the mountains with, a group of 20 astronomers and, things like that. I thought Casper got really creative here. Casper Lodge, I thought this was brilliant. There's a lodge on Casper Mountain that put their whole lodge on myminiauction.com, okay? And they auctioned it off until August 21st of this year. And the last I checked, it was at $6,600 for the weekend. And that was early on. That was very early on. And then we've called back 3 times to ask them what it went for, and they won't tell us. I don't know how many thousands of dollars it went for. It went for a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, yeah.
It went for a lot of money. They will not tell us what it went for. But, anybody could do that. So Casper, it's like, okay, so how do we increase capacity? Because all these people are coming and you're already booked. Casper took the event center. They're doing RV overnight camping on asphalt. They've said it's a minimum of 5 nights, $300. They're renting 254 spaces. You get to stay in the middle of August on asphalt, for dry camping.
Sounds beautiful.
Selling out. It's a safe place. They can go in, they can use the bathrooms, they can, okay. So, can Riverton increase the capacity? Well, you're already doing that potentially with the 1838 Rendezvous, the Fremont County Fairgrounds, hopefully, the Wind River Hotel and Casino. They've told me they are probably, all that area around the parking lot up there, that they had there was some rodeo arena type things. They're talking about maybe doing dry camping there to expand how many people that they can put there. But that's just the beginning. We need thousands of more places to send people, particularly day trippers. And just this week, I had to drive up by the airport, and I went by this, and it's like, oh my gosh, the Motoplex. Oh my gosh, you got a locked gate, you got all that space. I don't know, is there a bathroom up there? You know, I mean, I looked at that and said, somebody could make a lot of money. You could just do day parking.
Water, electricity, or anything?
Okay, so then there's the opportunity for Airbnbs and things like that, where you rent a room in your house, you rent the apartment next to you, you rent, you know, all those things. Airbnb's been going on. You will be able to collect sales and lodging tax on that. The Wyoming Department of Revenue right now is working on an arrangement with Airbnb. They have to pay 3 years back lodging tax for Airbnb and sales tax. And we'll have, I think, an agreement by the end of 2016, and Airbnb will now collect and pay regularly sales and lodging tax. You need to know that. There's 45 properties listed in Fremont County. VRBO is vacation rental by owner. That's usually more of a whole house, but not always, but more of a whole house or a whole building. 35 properties listed in Fremont County. Once the Department of Revenue says they get done with Airbnb, they'll tackle VRBO and try to work that same sales lodging tax. So same thing, they collect, you know, they'll advise people on collecting the tax. Now there's a new one, TripAdvisor now. You can now rent your place through TripAdvisor. There's only 14 so far in Fremont County. It's pretty new. holidaylettings.com. You can list your property. So here's some of the folks that we're trying to drive businesses to, and that is on your handout here, all these contact people. I just put them in a printed out handout. Sarah Hamlin from the Small Business Development Center. I gave you a business checklist. It talks about business permits, sales tax, lodging tax, the Department of Revenue. We need to know what the whole City Hall temporary merchant license thing is. I'm sure every city is different. And then we have to go to public lands. That's the place we have not gotten the kind of response that we've been expecting. They just have not engaged yet. We have gotten Rick Metzger from the Wind River Forest Service District in Du Bois to come to 2 of our meetings so far. Still need to get the Washakie District at Alander involved. That's important to us to figure out. People are going to look for public land and go there. Where do we send them safely? And you have to be aware that Yellowstone is not in totality. So anybody who's in Yellowstone who wants to see this will come out through Moran. And they're either going to turn right or they're going to turn left. And I don't think they're going to be able to turn right towards Jackson. And I think they're going to turn left and go over Togety Pass and start heading this way. And they're going to be looking for any place they can pull over, any place to stop, any place they feel safe. So we're trying to work with the Shoshone National Forest, the Bridger-Teton National Forest. That's a picture of something that Cody Beers had put together during the Togety Trail thing. Remember they built all those wonderful parking lots for snowmobiles that are off the highway? I think people, they're not for overnight camping, but I think they'll be packed with overnight dry camping. BLM, still working on the BLM. Castle Gardens could be a great place to send people. You know, the recreation person says, yeah, let's go there, and then the district guy says, no, we don't want to send them to Castle Gardens. So I don't know what the answer is yet. But you also have Pilot Butte Reservoir, Bull Lake, Diversion Dam, and Boyson Dam, all of these for Bureau of Rec that are really good viewing sites. And then you start getting into the state game lands and the school sections and the wildlife habitat management areas. I looked at, here's Ocean Lake and San Mesa. Okay, so there's Ocean Lake, San Mesa's, that's a wildlife habitat area, a little closer towards Shoshone. There's picnic tables, there's public restrooms. Is this a safe place to send them? Can we do that? And then a big question will be tribal lands. It goes all the way across the reservation. You need fishing permits, trespass permits. Where's a good place to send people? Where is not a good place to send people? And then you have private land. I really am encouraging businesses to look at the Small Business Development Center checklist. There's all kinds of tricky things. If you were going to open your lower 48 to day parking or something, all of a sudden your insurance, if you're taking money, your insurance isn't going to cover things. There's all kinds of complexities to that. So they really need to look at a business checkout. They need to understand what the expenses are going to be, not just the money coming in. So we had a meeting here in Riverton in May at the casino on eclipse planning, and I went to the one October 11th in Casper. Lander had one October 12th. On November 1st, Du Bois had an eclipse planning meeting. This information, again, these are some of your contacts between our stuff, the Google Maps, the Kathy Metzler. They're working with Homeland Security. Lynn Budd is the eclipse planner person. You've got the YDOT person. This is all on your list. And then if you need, sometimes just, we can talk with Anna Wilcox, who's the Casper person, and Rich Oakes up in Teton County has been really good. He's got a lot of logistics stuff. He's been a really good contact. So Kathy Metzler put this together. This is after our Du Bois meeting, and this is kind of like, to me, Riverton needs an eclipse task force. I mean, there's a lot of logistics here. We can do all the marketing, but there's still all this logistics. So Riverton needs a task force, and this is kind of the structure that happened out of Du Bois. We went up to Du Bois, and the city council and the chamber said that we'll be the top, we'll be the lead in this. We'll work together and figure this out, and then you have your operations and logistics and things like taxes, and then all the subcommittees, everything from trash and events and that. So this is the kind of structure I think we need to see out of Riverton with some type of task force. Because Lander's working on one, Shoshone's working on one, Du Bois is working on, and I think we need, obviously, you have the best economic opportunity, so we need one. The county EMS and Sheriff's Department, Kathy Metzler and those guys are working on emergency plans and who to connect with who, and it's still in draft. You need to link to our website. You need to go on and request your eclipse information. The Wind River Visitors Council is going to have a tourism stakeholders meeting on November 29th. This is not a logistics meeting, but this is the people that we've been talking about who are doing infrastructure things. It will be the fairgrounds, and it will be the 1838 Rendezvous folks. And this isn't EMS and YDOT and all of that, but it is the people who are trying to create these events and things to do. So we are holding that. We should have a person from the Riverton Task Force there. And basically, this is it. We are working on safety. We're working on prosperity. We need to collaborate throughout the whole county. We have to work through our fear and anxiety. I didn't get to sleep till 1 o'clock this morning because I'm thinking about all of this stuff. These things are just, there's a lot. When you start going to interagency meetings and you're talking with the EMS people and the county sheriff and all that, you start to get a lot of anxiety. So we have to work through our fear and anxiety. And we get to celebrate and plan. And a guy who basically helps coordinate up to 500,000 people at the Sturgis rally said, "You're going to welcome the world to your community. What are you going to do with that opportunity?" So they're coming, and we get to create the infrastructure for them to have a really good experience. That's what I know today. Tomorrow I'll know more.
Thank you, Paula. Wonderful. Any questions, Lee?
I have one.
Yes.
Anywhere in your plan have you looked up after the eclipse is over, clean up?
Yep. That is.
You know the garbage is going to be out there.
That's right. There's going to be a lot of garbage. Porta potties and garbage I see as two of the biggest logistical issues. And unfortunately, they both cost. So that's where, like Shoshone, we have the Tourism Asset Development Funds, okay? The Wind River Visitors Council gives 25% of its lodging tax back to the communities in the Joint Powers Board in the percentage that the community collects. Riverton collects the most lodging tax out of all of the Joint Powers Board members that form the lodging tax. That money goes to the Riverton Chamber, There is a special committee that decides where that money goes. That money, as long as it doesn't buy alcohol, it's lodging tax money. It can't buy alcohol, it can't lobby, and it can't build like a visitor center, it can't build a building. Other than that, it can supply porta potties, it can supply, certain things for infrastructure that need to happen in order for the visitor to have a safe experience. So I think that's a potential, obviously, to access some of that. The trash, that may have to be a city, that may just, for you, it's a city utility, basically. That may be something to do. I know we're working with the county landfill to say you've got to be open on Monday. The landfill has to be open on Monday, has to be open on Tuesday, and they're talking about, I think they will be. I think they'll accommodate that because people need a place to be able to take this stuff. So yeah, this is part of the logistics, and that's where the Wind River Visitors Council is trying to grease the wheels, but we are not, we are in charge of marketing and tourism. We don't do trash.
And maybe, I think that's what your point brings up.
Kathy, come up to the mic, and then the people at home will be able to hear and see.
I just wanted to say that I think what your question brings up kind of gets to the point of where the Visitors Council's at. Their job, our job, is to bring the tourists here. It's everybody else's job to figure out, how do we handle the garbage? How do we handle the EMS? How do we get people to sell things? How do we make the best economic opportunity out of it? So this job is to bring the bodies. The rest of our job is to make sure they have a good time. Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I've been to all these communities giving this presentation, and then the communities like Du Bois said, okay, we need our task force, this is how we're gonna do it, this is how we're gonna fund those things, this is how we're gonna take care of it, and they've got their little structure, and they're working on it. And they're gonna collect money for people to go up to the Du Bois Overlook and watch the eclipse from the overlook. They're gonna, they're gonna have the sawmill site there by the river, they're gonna charge there, they're gonna be able to collect funds to do that.
Your Honor?
Go ahead.
Paula, what is the structure of some of these other ones like Lander? Who is the lead in that? Is that the city, or is it the chamber? Is it?
Okay, there's 3 people that I know on that team, and that would be Regine Fossen from the city, and Rose Burke from the chamber is their events coordinator, so she'll be working on that whole street party, block party thing. And then Nick Hudson would be kind of your operations, emergency management person. So they've formed a team there that I understand Lander. Du Bois has done its city and chamber people, and then they've made their little, kind of committees. And Shoshone, right now, it's pretty much the Chamber of Commerce and the library. And they have, they've actually come, Shoshone's a little different with the lodging tax money that they get back. Du Bois, like I said, Du Bois gets maybe 25%, Riverton gets like 50%, and Lander gets about 25%, somewhere around there as far as getting this 25% of the lodging tax back and the percentage that you collect. Shoshone just gets a flat stipend because they really aren't collecting that much lodging tax. So we gave them $6,000 annually. Well, they hadn't had an increase, they hadn't asked for more money, and they came back and said, we need another $6,000 out of lodging tax money to do trash and porta pots. And since they really get a small amount of lodging tax money because they collect a small amount, we gave the Winter Visitors Council board voted to give them another $6,000 to deal with that, because they are right on the center line there, and they don't even have one single restaurant open. So there are a lot of the funds. I know the sheriff's concerned about that and a lot of things. We have a letter going to the county commissioners to make some recommendations at the county level. and they obviously have to work with each community and the task forces here. So that's the hole I see in Riverton, is just you need to organize that task force to deal with exactly those questions, Lee.
We've talked about the task force, myself and Kathy, Ryan, will be really somebody to step up in this area. Be part of that.
Everybody's stunned. I think, so,
Are there any unbelievers still?
no.
Stephen, just say what was the email that you got the other week, last week, that you sent me?
Yeah, we had a group out of, what's the college, Southern?
UVU.
Yeah, UVU down in Utah. They're going to be bringing up 150 physics students, and they're just going to be coming for the day. But they had looked at eastern Idaho, and they think there's going to be mobs there, so they were looking at Riverton, and really the weather was the determining factor. And they were asking about what's going to happen, you know, what's the traffic, all those kind of things. And so when you get those questions, you start questioning, what are we going to be doing about some of this? And so it's led to calling Paula and getting involved with that. So I think it's definitely something we need to be on top of, because I think, as Paula stated, is when these people come, if they have a good time, they're going to go, wow, a summer vacation back to the Wind Rivers would be a really nice thing. And so I think it's something we need to move forward. And you know, I would happily volunteer to be on this task force. So
you'd happily volunteer?
I would.
You've just been appointed.
You need a second on that?
And you can count on me to be a participant fully and be involved. Is there anybody else on the council that would like to be, like to get ripping on that? Sean? Okay. So Lee, you said you're hot for it? Okay. All right.
Bravo.
So we've got kind of a little city. We have kind of a little city council task force here started for the city of Riverton, but we need to expand that with some other community involvement. Okay, and so we'll be looking forward to that. Something that is on my mind, Mike.
Yeah, Your Honor, we've had this discussion a little bit before. Paula, have you talked to YDOT regarding the total destruction of North Federal Boulevard that they're planned ahead of that? Have we made any more headway there?
Yes, Your Honor. They said that for the whole week, they're going to not have anybody working on the site. And
Well, that depends on whether they have a crater in the middle of the...
well, and they've assured that everything will be at least be brought up to grade, so everything will be open. It may not be asphalt over it, but at least they'll be driving on all the lanes.
That's my
On all the lanes.
concern, is we're going to have an extra 10 to 20,000 people driving down Federal, and it's going to be 2 lanes of ruddy dirt road. Yeah. And, you know, everybody wanting to get that way out of town.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, that's
I still think
a logistic that,
we need to look at seeing if they wouldn't maybe just put that project off until, I mean, they aren't even going to have it bid and ready to start until July, it sounds like. So, I mean, we're not, they're just, you know.
Yeah, Your Honor, that date keeps changing. We were just with one of the YDOT officials today, and they were talking about October, and then we'd heard May, and we heard August, so who knows really what it's going to be.
I guess if we all put a little pressure on them, we might be able to convince them. As much as I think North Federal needs to be fixed, you know, I'd hate to just blow this whole experience with just that, because I mean, that would be enough to really cause a bad taste in everybody's mouth, is, you know, not be able to get through town, main
yep,
drag going out of town, so.
yeah, well, you got, what did I say, 297 days to figure it out, so
Piece of cake.
piece of cake.
Okay,
Thank you.
you bet.
Thank you.
You bet. Well, I think think for us, it's not going to be fun.
Gonna be a lot of work.
We'll have to have a pretty positive attitude about it toward our fellow man.
Have our first meeting Monday morning. I'll get back with you.
Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is council committee reports and roundtable. Mr. Bailey, have you got anything for us?
No, other than I guess I was very, very glad to see that in our election that the 1% Fix Our Roads tax passed. I think the Forest Committee and the city and the counties and the other towns have done an amazing job of fixing the infrastructure in the county, and I think the voters voted accordingly, and they want to continue to have us do that. So I'd like to just say that I appreciate as conservative as they have been in managing those funds and not being extravagant and getting a lot of good work done that I think is important to our community and has helped. I mean, I think a lot of people notice now some of the things that we've been doing where they were a little bit, as we've said before, after you're done with the highway project, it looks just like a highway that it was before they started, and it's hard to tell sometimes. If you built a 20-story skyscraper, everybody'd notice it, but the highway, it's still just a highway. I think that was great. Congratulations to Mr. Hancock for winning the election, and Holly and Sean, and so that's all I had. I've been out of town a lot, and so I apologize for being absent, so.
Thank you. Mr. Canan?
Just a quick little update. I know the council received a briefing on Veterans Park here earlier this year, and we approved some of the updates. And just to give you a quick update on some of those, installing the third flagpole is in the works. It may or may not go up depending on the weather, but we've gotten support from some of the local businesses about getting that removed from its present location over at the Manhattan restaurant and moved over here, and we're coordinating with the city and making sure that everything's good to go before that gets installed. The second memorial stone is being designed, so we can take a look at that. Excuse me. The veterans are selling little memorial pavers. For the various vets, you can have your name, rank, dates of service on those, and again, those will be put out there. And then hopefully in the near future, we'll start the little contest for the mural for the back part of the city hall here, so that we can get that in the works. Hopefully early next year when the weather turns nice, and get going on that.
Okay.
And I think lastly, I'd like to thank the Riverton FFA. I know they're going around and doing some community service, cleaning up yards and raking leaves and stuff like that, trying to get that stuff done before the yard waste facility closes down this week.
Okay. Thank you, Martin. Lee?
Your Honor, we had our school district number 25 rec board meeting last Monday, and we had just paid the bills. But talked to our secretary, and our grant applications is tentatively set for January 9th at the school district 25 admin building. There where they have the school board meetings. So that's tentatively set for that date, so that'll be for the grant applications. And that's all I have.
Okay. The date again, Lee?
The 9th of January.
Of January.
2017.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Larson?
Your Honor, I'd like to compliment the volunteers that camped out down at the county and took our votes last Tuesday. There was more people than I have ever seen in my life here in Fremont County that were exercising their rights. And I saw a lot of volunteers there. And it goes without saying that without volunteers, our freedom is in jeopardy. And I am extremely proud to know that we care about voting. Thank you.
Thank you. Sean?
Just to echo what Mike and Kyle said, it was kind of neat. I was down there and I saw a lot of young people down there voting. A lot of brand new 18-year-olds down there that I know from my daughter and stuff like that were down there, and they were excited to vote. And they were excited to do their part and to see the parents explaining to them stuff like that. And the volunteers were incredible down there. I mean, I went down there and it was packed in the parking lot. I was like, oh, here we go. I'm settling in for a while, and I was in and out. It was quick, so. Kudos to all them down there, and thank you for the people who got out and voted, and congratulations to Tim and Holly and
You?
Holly?
Okay, so today we had the endowment meeting for the senior center. We got to meet the new senior board that was elected by the senior citizens instead of appointed. So that was really exciting. Frank Tanner is their new president, so that's who I'll get to be working with now. They did give us a check for the full amount for the $7,414.29 for the overpayment that they had. So we'll put that back into the endowment. I think that they're very open about being super transparent. I know that the senior board really wants to be at all those meetings. They want to work with the city. They did bring up the idea of seeing if Jane can find a grant to pay for the electric and the gas, if we'd reconsider the agreement so that she could be able to pay other things with the endowment. And I said that at that time, we'd take a look at it if she could figure something out, just to get the most bang for our buck. So I think we're on a good track, and I think that we're headed in the right direction. I know that they are going to be looking at getting an executive director here in Riverton, but it's probably not going to be for couple more months, just because there's still stuff that they need to figure out and get cleaned up and redo. So it went really well.
Good. Thank you, Holly. Stephen, have you got anything for us this evening?
Yeah, Your Honor, I got a few things. The mayor and Kyle and I went over to the Tribal Relation Committee, the Legislative Committee today, and was given our plead to try to work out our easement issue with the tribes, and don't know if that will help or not, but I think we're stepping in the right direction, and anybody's help will be good with that. We do have the groundbreaking for the VOA on Monday at 10 o'clock, if anybody's interested in attending that. That's going to be where they're expanding their building, and that's pretty exciting. And then the final one was Councilman Canaan brought up, is yard waste. That's for the blue containers. So the blue containers will stop being picked up on Friday. Will be the last day. You still can go down to the facility, but it's by appointment only. So you have to call up the Public Works, and so if there's things in the future where you have some of those, you can call up and get an appointment and still go down there and dump. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to welcome Mr. Hancock to the City Council. And so do we have a date when that swearing in takes place?
First meeting in January.
First meeting in January, okay. And so we look forward to that. And if you have any interest in committee assignments, different from what you're doing now, let me know, because we'll probably be reorganizing, the committees. And so we've got that to look forward to the first of the year. The election was fascinating. I just I watched that pretty carefully, and it was interesting for us because we were traveling and trying to catch it here and there, and see how things were going. I voted absentee, and so we went over to the courthouse. I think it was on Thursday before the election, and we had to wait in line in the courthouse in order to vote. There was 25 people in the hall down there waiting their turn to vote, and Julie Freese says it had been like that for over a week, every day. So a lot of people turned out, I think, and were interested in this election. So grateful for all those that participated. So it was fun to hear your presentation tonight on the eclipse, and it's a little difficult to grab a hold of. We can't even imagine what that's going to look like, can we? Basically, we're talking about doubling the population of Riverton, and so that's going to be a shock to the system, and difficult. There will be some real points of stress. So we'll have to try to figure out how to deal with that, and see if we can't be prepared at some point, and then maybe beyond that, we'll just have to show people how to get out of town. Yeah. Spread them out a little bit more across the country, but we are we're certainly going to see it. It'll come whether we're ready for it or not, and so we need to work on that, and we'll try to get something pulled together here. I see that the Homeland Security folks are going to have a first responders meeting next week, and or is it next week? The 19th, I think. It's December 19th. That far away? I just saw it come by in the email, but we'll make sure that we're represented there, and so that we're dealing with those particular issues. Okay. We don't need any kind of an executive session tonight, and so we will adjourn on a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 8:12. Thank you.